Hey everybody, Brian Von VA here. Today, we're going to be talking about those little moments where sometimes a quick thought, a brilliant sense of epiphany saves the day. In D&D, have you ever witnessed a fellow player's quick thinking save the entire party? If you have a little quick thought moment that you'd like to share, do so in the comments below. Now, it can be disputed as whether or not it was quick thinking. I was running a fantasy game using a homebrew campaign in D&D, 3rd edition. One of the homebrew elements was the collecting of 5 elemental artifacts. The group had already acquired one, a Staff of Life, that allowed 1 resurrection per day. The party had arrived in the dwarven home city to convince the king to join an alliance against an unseen evil threat. The party was mostly elves and half-elves, with 1 human warrior and 1 halfling rogue. When they arrived at the castle, one of the elves recognized an aid to the king from a previous encounter with the servants of the evil force. The party began fighting while they waited to see the king. As the party was fighting, an all too common event with this group, the human warrior decided, without telling anyone other than me, that they were leaving. He had decided that he really didn't have anything to contribute to a diplomacy event, so he grabbed the staff and went to the nearest martial arts school to get some training in staves. After his departure, which the rest of the party never noticed, the one player who recognized the minion of evil ignored the party decision and accused the minion directly of cavorting with evil. Dun dun dun. The rest of the party shoved him to the back and tried to smooth things over. Unfortunately, he had previously come into possession of an item of power that he had been trying to unlock. He decided, well, this was the time to do so. He had the spells, and with its power, he could defeat the minion of evil. Unfortunately, the item unleashed a demon. The demon immediately killed the king, mildly injured the minion of evil, killed a whole bunch of other people, all while leaving some alive as he framed the party, pretending to answer their requests to kill more dwarves. How dare you? In the party's defense, they were quick enough to figure out how to trap and injure the demon. Unfortunately, this just made the demon realize that he had to kill them if he wanted to leave. So he did. Moments later, everyone is yelling and stomping and crying as they assign the blame for the total party kill. After a couple minutes, I finally interrupt the fit storm by saying, "That's not entirely correct."
"What isn't correct?"
"That the party suffered a TPK.
Yes, it is."
"No, it isn't." Then they rambled off each of the deaths to prove me wrong, that is until they realized their count was off by 1. Now, in their defense, it was a big group, about 10 players. In a group that large, fog of war is real. Luckily, I am really good at managing these things. So they retracted it and suddenly realized that, well, the warrior was unaccounted for. The clueless warrior was returning to the Capitol building after an invigorating training session. He ran straight to the crime scene and had to do his best Peter impression, denying being part of the elf group. He then rented a spacious nearby ground floor room and quietly snuck back with big sack bags to carry each corpse back to the room. A lot of questions were raised that day on why the fighter had spent so many points on move silently and stealth, but everyone was suddenly thankful he had. He then spent the next 9 days raising the party one by one. Here's the crazy thing. The next near TPK happened after the fighter, again, left to go find a local weapon master for training. After that, the party kept a very close eye on when the warrior decided to leave. This is a great example of a lot of what I'm reading, murder hobos, and one random warrior who just kind of wants to do his own thing and, has the common sense, or at least God's gift, to avoid danger. Yes, many times, but the one that stands out is the one in which the entire party died, except for one character. But that character's quick thinking allowed their bodies to be retrieved and later raised. I swear we just read a story like that. It was a living Greyhawk game. The character was a 4th level halfling archer type playing in a 6th level game. The party was fighting chokers. They grappled and got 2 actions around from what I remembered. The group was overwhelmed almost instantly. Out of sheer luck, the halfling wasn't grappled immediately. But by the time her second round came up, one character was dead. The other 4 were grappled. The player said, "Running away is the best way I can contribute to this battle." So she did. Oh no. 2 rounds later, all the other characters were dead. The halfling archer returned later with all the guards, soldiers, and toughs from the nearby town and was able to retrieve the bodies, and they all got raised. Had she not decided to run so early, she would have inevitably been killed as well, and all the characters would have been lost permanently. That character later went on to be the only survivor of 5 more adventures before the campaign was ended by Wizards of the Coast. But that was the only time she ran early. Well, actually, it didn't save the party, but it saved him. The party began descending a long staircase that led to a 10 by 10 landing at the bottom, and then started back up again. No obvious purpose to the stairs being there at all. Just as the first member reached the landing at the bottom, one player said, "I look up. What do I see?" The DM says, "You see an inverted staircase." Alert player immediately drinks a potion that makes him incorporeal, while the rest of us die when the ceiling descends abruptly. Seeing as only Ghost Boy was left alive, the DM allowed himself a self-satisfied and somewhat demonic laugh and performed a bit of a miracle, and we all moved on where we later came upon his thesaurus. None of us escaped that one without damage. David Fatale. First hand. Our party wandered into a town where there were Warforged sentries on patrol. One member of our party is also a Warforged, and for the sake of the story, a prototype of an inventor. These Warforged patrolmen had received orders to terminate a Warforged with his designation on site. Combat was about to start when our sorcerer cast invisibility on our Warforged and pretended that it was disintegrated. As the party's bard, I played along and immediately acted horrified that someone in our party had murdered another. The other Warforged bought the charade and walked away. Genius. And I kinda hope you said Hakai when that happened. Our party, a draconic sorcerer and dragonborn, is currently trapped within the Shadowfell in a relatively low magic campaign. We're stuck in a partially crumbled and decrepit castle surrounded by undead who shattered my longsword and chased us into the building. Currently, the draconic sorcerer is being slowly corrupted by the Shadowfell, along with the dragonborn barbarian. The barbarian finds a water stream and suggests we follow it, since water flows uphill, which the DM confirmed is a huge clue to the escape route. So, through the quick thinking of our resident barbarian, the party will hopefully be saved from the Shadowfell and undead and various threats aiming to kill us. I'm just hoping we can escape in time without any permanent damage to the party. Okay, so we're playing a 5th edition campaign where we travel dimensions that are being consumed by this unknown material as the tar. The party is a pirate crew led by someone we'll call T. To begin this tale, the party and T took up a mission to go and kill this creature known as the Butcher that was terrorizing the forest and killed quite a few people. We were looking around the Butcher's abode when me, T, and the majority of the party were in a freezer. And after having a nice conversation with a near-dead primordial being, the Butcher appeared and trapped us inside the freezer. We were all either going to die from the cold and or the Butcher killing us, but due to some quick thinking, we got the door shut and the Butcher couldn't get to us, but now we're going to die to the cold. So our lovely Captain T steps up and uses Thunder Wave to knock the Butcher on his ass and the door from its hinges, allowing us to truly begin our first big boss fight of the campaign. Starfinder campaign. 3 of our 4 players were trapped behind a wall of ice made by the big bad evil guy. I was the only one separated from the group alone with the crackling scientist who had many mechanical augmentations that were quite threatening. Think Predator-esque shoulder laser, etc. The other group was set upon by teleporting eyeless demon hounds with chains poking out of their skin. Blech. dealing almost 20 damage a swipe. These things were seriously about to drop all of our teammates if they couldn't break through the ice wall. In a moment of genius and quick decision-making, our technomancer, Dr. Squish, cast a force bubble on himself and the large four-armed soldier at the other end of the hallway. This effectively trapped the dogs and protected the nearly downed soldier. The thing was, the force bubble didn't allow damage both ways, making these bubbles into huge door barricades that could not be broken. It lasted for rounds and rounds while I was chased around by the final boss, and eventually got the chance to break the ice wall and bring the rest of the team into the fight. We need more Starfinder campaigns. I do like sci-fi stuff. I once had the pleasure of playing in a campaign with a gaggle of characters. A half-orc warlock, a water genasi cleric, a tiefling bardlock, a tiefling sorcerer, and a Yuan-Ti sorcerer who picked up some monk levels partway through the campaign. The half-orc, Chris, was the DMPC, who helped keep us on track. We were staying in his family's estate in Selenor. To continue the story, I have to explain one thing. The Yuan-Ti had multiple personalities. There was a plethora, but the one that matters was Al-Kathan. Good old Al worked with the big bad evil guy directly. When Al came out, they would pose as other personalities to lure away and attempt to assassinate other PCs. But they didn't adopt that method until after their encounter at brunch in Selenor. The party was sitting around the table as everyone arrived, the Yuan-Ti being the last and loudly proclaiming themselves to be Al-Kathan, as though they could intimidate us. The cleric quickly cast a hold person on Al, and oh boy was Al held. Next thing you know, I was rolling 8 d20s for advantage on a non-lethal flurry of blows to, pacify the threat. When it was all said and done, I did close to roughly 62 damage, with the help of the 2 nat 20s I rolled during my advantage burst. The Yuan-Ti was KO'd instantly, waking up a few moments later, conveniently as a different personality, of course. That day was saved thanks to the cleric. The next time Al appeared, they managed to kill off our tiefling sorcerer, Danica. Oh, don't worry, the Yuan-Ti was killed with no resurrection in the ensuing battle. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA here, back at it again, checking in after the vid. Make sure to stay hydrated, happy and healthy, as well as to leave a like, subscribe, and to ring that bell so you, yes you, the listener, viewer, all of you, get notified when we post a brand new video, or in the rare event we go live on YouTube. And in the event that you have an experience or a story that you would like to share with us and maybe make it into a video, you can do so in the comments below. Preferably the comments, because the algorithm gods, they really, you know, they need to get stiffed a little bit, and we are the ones that can stiff them. So let's pretend they're all dragons, roll a d20, and kick some ass, am I right? Alright, that being said, you want to come say hi to me, Brian Von VA. My link is in the description below. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, Discord, anywhere. Links in the description below. Also, I try to end things on a positive note, and I just want to say this. To the people out there that have just dumb luck or creative quick thinking that might save the day, I applaud you. It takes a lot of time and effort to basically work from scratch and come up with something on the fly that might make or break a campaign or even save the day. And that's really cool. And that, well, basically breeds more stories out of that. So, if you have this thought in your head like, oh, I could save the day, but I don't want to be intrusive to the party, heck no. Get in there, say your thought, say your piece, do what your intuition is telling you, because you might do something beautiful. Don't let your fear or anxiety or worry that you're going to interrupt the party be any sort of catalyst for you to not do something. Just be creative, have fun. That's what playing D&D is all about. I love you all, be safe, be happy, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.